Welcome back, everybody, to 31 2000s horror movies for Halloween, where I'm counting down my favorite horror movies from the year 2000 to the year 2009. So, at number 17, we have a movie that a lot of people love. It's a vampire movie. It's one of the most notorious vampire movies from the 2000s. It's the Swedish vampire movie, Let the Right One In.
I'll carry you. I'll take you to a phone.
Careful.
You don't weigh a thing.
Now, I love Let the Right One In. Every movie I have on this list, I absolutely love. And I know there are people who would put Let the Right One In higher on the list. But the thing is, Let the Right One In is a vampire movie, and I do enjoy vampire movies. I've finally been able to enjoy vampire movies again. I have been vampired out for a very, very long time because of the bombardment of vampire-related material we've gotten for so long in the last decade and all that stuff. You had the Twilight craze, and then you had a bunch of vampire stuff come out then. But I've been allowing myself to love the vampire genre again recently. I think taking a break from it for a while really helped me to love the genre again. So, Let the Right One In, when I saw it back when it came out, I enjoyed it very much. I loved it, just not as much as everyone else because of my vampire fatigue at the time. But now that I am kind of getting over my vampire fatigue, I'm allowing myself to enjoy them again, I have grown a greater appreciation for Let the Right One In. Now, this is a Swedish vampire movie, and it's kind of a love story between two 12-year-olds, or a 12-year-old boy and a vampire who is a girl who is 12 forever, because she's a vampire. You have this boy named Oscar, who is bullied in school. You have all these kids treating him terribly, and he lives in this apartment complex, and one night, this man moves in with this little girl named Ellie. As the movie goes on, the two meet up, they start talking, they develop a friendship, and it's soon revealed that Ellie is a vampire. And it goes on as Oscar starts learning that Ellie is a vampire, they develop a relationship, and the movie goes on from there. It has bullies in it. It builds to this fantastic climax at a swimming pool. For those who have not seen it, I will not say any more than that. But yeah, this is a fantastic movie. It's a fantastic vampire movie. I showed it to a friend of mine who loves vampire movies, and this one became his favorite vampire movie. I mean, and it's a great movie. It has a huge cult following, and there's a reason it has that cult following. It's just that good. The first thing that anybody will say about Let the Right One In is that this movie is beautiful. It looks so gorgeous. It takes place in Sweden, and it's winter, and there's snow everywhere. So, yeah, it's not a bright, vibrant movie, but it's sort of a white-gray movie, but it's beautiful in its whiteness and its grayness because of the snow and the winter weather. This is one of those movies that really does capture the feel of winter. And I love when movies can capture the feel of a particular season, and this one captures winter perfectly. There is some bloodshed in the movie, but it's not like in-your-face gore. You do get plenty of blood, but again, it's less about the bloodshed and more about the story of these two people coming together. Ellie trying to get Oscar to start fighting back at school. Oscar learning more about Ellie and stuff like that. And what I appreciate about this movie is I love when vampire movies do something different. For example, okay, this movie is called Let the Right One In, and it's part of vampire lore, or at least certain forms of vampire lore, that a vampire cannot go into your house unless you invite them in. This shows what happens if a vampire enters a house without being invited. And Ellie is such a good character. She's you can tell that she doesn't like having to live this way, but she has to because this is who she is. Having to kill people in order to stay alive. And there's great moments where, she'll drink the blood out of somebody and then kill that person, and then she'll be very solemn about it because, again, she doesn't want to do this. She has an old man living with her who is sort of her, I don't want to say keeper, but, guardian, I guess, posing as her father. And I love the idea because it's hinted at that he was a little boy as well, and because she doesn't age, he constantly grew older. And then, of course, you have the situation where she meets Oscar, and then, that whole thing. But anyway, he goes out to kill people and collect blood for her. It's still, you can tell neither one of them are happy about this situation, but there's an understanding that this is their situation, so this is how things have to be done. But it does a good job at subtle gore. Again, we don't see a lot of the violence. A lot of the violence is more suggested, but it does show blood here and there, so... And it uses sound very well. Like, there's scenes where the Guardian strings up a body and cuts the throat to collect it in a jug, and it does a good job at, using the sound to help create the image in your head of the violence that's not being shown on screen. But Let the Right One In was such a hit with vampire fans when it came out, because this was around the time that the Twilight films were coming out, and a lot of people were disappointed by those movies. A lot of people didn't like those movies. A lot of people hated on the Twilight movies. I make the argument that Twilight would have not lasted as long if the haters didn't talk about it as much as they did. The haters talked about it more than the fans of the film. So I say this, the people who hated the movie kept that series alive. Because there were so many people who were ragging on the Twilight series when Let the Right One In came in, it gave people a new vampire movie, and then they gushed over that movie. So Let the Right One In came out at a good time for vampire fans to gush over it. I'm not going to say that Let the Right One In's success was because of people's disdain for the Twilight series, but I wonder if it would have been as popular if the Twilight series had not come out. It probably would have been. People would have still watched it and still loved it, but because there were so many people that were disappointed in the Twilight movies, I wonder if that helped Let the Right One In gain more momentum faster. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's just speculation on my part. Regardless of that, Let the Right One In is a great vampire movie. It's a beautiful vampire movie. So well done. Well deserving of its cult following. Vampire movies are a staple of the Halloween season, and, you haven't seen Let the Right One In and you're a vampire fan, I would say check this one out. Great vampire movie. Beautiful vampire movie. Well worth your time. If you just want to see such a pretty looking movie for Halloween. This is a good one. It's a very, very good movie.